Hey, we're Shannon and Jerry Arner, hosts of the Arner Adventures podcast.
We're a minimalist couple choosing a more intentional way of living, one decision at a time.
After burning out from the nonstop grind of running our business, we realized adventure doesn't have to look loud, expensive, or extreme to matter.
Sometimes it looks like letting go, starting over, asking harder questions, or figuring things out as you move along.
We discuss life's challenges, the small shifts that change everything, and the everyday choices that help us live with less physical clutter and mental noise.
You'll hear honest conversations, thoughtful stories, and reminders that a meaningful life is built in the in-between moments, not just the highlight reel.
This is the Arner Adventures podcast, where life itself is the adventure.
Hey everybody, we hope you're enjoying the new year. January, it's a good time for us right now.
It's flying right by. January is almost done. And for all of you who have been participating in our Declutter Challenge, thank you for sharing your successes with us. Thank you for sharing the feedback. We love it. And all of you who are doing the Declutter 365, also, first of all, kudos, because in a year from now, you're going to be completely decluttered. And we're following right along with you. So be proud if you're towards the end of January and you've done either one of those. It's a huge step. And we hope that, as usual, anything that we provide, put out into the world, we hope that it's helpful. We always talk about things that are helpful to us, which kind of leads us into today's topic.
It does. And let me just say, it is nice to see the Declutter Challenge continuing on.
Yeah. Year 3, I believe.
Year 3, is it now? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it seems to have a little momentum of its own, so that's a good thing. So, what we're going to talk about today is when nothing is wrong, but something still feels off.
This subject comes up a lot in my therapy sessions. I'm the person who, when there is nothing, obviously wrong, I feel like there should be, or that I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, or it could be a sign of me leading to burnout. And I think you feel that same way too. It's like you just feel like something's wrong, but you're not sure what it is. And so we're going to dive into that today. And hopefully you can walk away with some pointers and ways to maneuver through this the way that we have. Remember, we share our own experiences. We are not therapists ourselves. We may share things that our therapists have shared with us. Coping mechanisms, way to kind of handle this. We are not doctors. We are not therapists. If there's something that you want to dig into more, we highly recommend that you seek a professional to deal with this if it's something that you're really struggling with.
Sometimes life seems okay on the surface, but it still feels off inside. Boy, and I think I've experienced a lot of that. We have learned to trust our gut, our intuition.
We did an episode about that.
Yeah.
Trusting your gut. That's linked in the show notes if you want to learn more about that.
Yeah, it's not dramatic, nor does it need a big announcement or a quick fix. It's just enough to notice that things don't fit the way they once did.
Yeah, sometimes nothing's really wrong, but getting through each day feels harder than it should. Routines that used to help now feel like they're not helping or they're boring. Making decisions is tougher, decision fatigue.
Yeah.
And even rest isn't coming the way that it did. It doesn't feel as refreshed as it once did. It's easy to ignore these feelings, especially when everything looks stable to other people. And I want to, real quick before we get into the main juice of this, that's the way grief feels. Like in that when you're going through grief, everybody else is like, but you seem fine. But it's like when you are going through the process of grief, it may be a year, maybe 10 years down the road, or depression, which we've talked about, we both have suffered from, and we both suffer from anxiety. I can't tell you how many times when and I'm very open about my depression, when I talk about it with people, they go, gosh, but you seem so happy all the time.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of that commercial. It's some pharma commercial where they hold the stick with the smiley face in front of their faces, even though they're sad or depressed or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. Like this feeling isn't so much depression. It's more like something is off.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. So it's a discomfort that has no obvious cause.
Right. So a lot of people tell themselves they're just overthinking, that they should be grateful, or yeah, and I've heard that a lot. That you should be
Mm-hmm.
grateful that feeling, or that feeling will go away if they keep busy, which there's something to be said for keeping busy, but it can be an addiction of its own, just staying busy to ignore
And ignore it.
the
Mm-hmm.
things that are bothering you.
Yeah.
So the real issue isn't the feeling itself, but how we learn to ignore it.
Yeah. And so let's talk about why we and others, why you may push past it.
We used to think we weren't cruise people.
Until Virgin Voyages came along.
Exactly. It's adults only, sustainably minded, and the food? Let's just say it ruined us for every other ship.
No kids, no crowds, no cheesy formal nights. It's travel that feels elevated and relaxed, but it's the vibe you want.
Whether you're exploring the Caribbean, the Med, or somewhere new, Virgin Voyages just gets it right.
You can grab our savings access key at arneradventures.com/virgin-voyages and start planning your next getaway.
Trust us, it's not your typical cruise. It's a voyage.
So we're taught as a society, especially in the United States, to react to urgent problems, not the subtle ones. Well, there's bigger fish to fry, you know.
Yeah.
Significant issues get noticed, but this quiet misalignment often doesn't. It's sort of, again, back to mental health. If your life is physically and aesthetically in order, people think that you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are you bathing yourself like you should? Are you keeping your house clean? Your car's immaculate. You know, I'm thinking of all the things that we do, and then sometimes things will still be really wrong.
Yeah.
So when things feel like they're not working, they're not right, it can feel wrong to question it. Like, yeah, oh, I should feel grateful that all this is happening, but there's pressure to keep things going, even when they no longer feel right. So we have, and you have to stop comparing ourselves to others to make us think our discomfort only matters if it's obvious or if it's severe or if it affects everybody, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So after a while, ignoring those inner signals, it can become a habit. It's
Yeah.
yeah, you're ignoring the underlying stuff. And
Yeah.
those things are a little bit subtle a lot of times, not the obvious. It can feel good to clean your car and make it look nice, but,
Yeah.
but you can do that and still there's a lot of underlying things.
100%.
Yeah.
We keep our house very clean. But I have kept it, you know, depression comes in all ways. Burnout comes in all different ways. Everything on the outside looks perfect when I'm burning out,
Yeah.
but the inside is definitely not.
Right. So, I like this next part. Discomfort versus misalignment.
And you know, alignment is our word of the year.
That's right.
So I thought that this was really,
This really just kind of
yeah.
adds in here. Misalignment.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Feeling uncomfortable is often part of growing. It's an essential part of growing. It happens when we're moving forward or changing direction. Misalignment is different. It sticks around, wears you down, and creates a steady resistance that doesn't go away with time or effort.
That's right. I like to think about this in the alignment as far as the tires, right?
Yeah.
So if tires are uncomfortable, that probably means that their wires are showing, the tread's not there.
Yeah.
Wow, that tire's really struggling, right?
Oh, yeah.
But a misalignment is different. It still causes problems.
Yeah.
But, you know, it just is a slow burn. It's like a steady resistance. But one of these calls for patience while the other calls for honesty. So learning to tell discomfort and misalignment apart is how you listen to your own feelings. So we've leaned more into this with our year of the word, like we talked about with misalignment.
Right.
So let's talk about what shifted for us.
Well, let's do that. And we got to a point where we couldn't ignore the feeling anymore. Life was falling apart, but it didn't feel smooth either. Life wasn't falling apart, but it didn't feel smooth either.
Right.
Everything felt familiar and the pace seemed right, but it started to feel like we were keeping things going instead of really living. You're just spinning our wheels, as they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the change didn't come from one big decision. It happens when we admit that being comfortable wasn't enough reason to keep things as they are. We talked about this on our last episode about the someday living.
Mm-hmm.
People are comfortable with consistency and routine.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to step out of that comfort zone because it's a change. The devil you know.
The devil you know.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you respond without overcorrecting when it comes to this?
Yeah.
So you don't have to make a big change to listen to that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It might mean that changing your expectations instead of piling on new ones is the way to go here.
It could mean letting go of commitment that used to feel right but doesn't anymore.
Boundaries,
yeah. It might mean changing how you go through your days, not changing everything about them, your days. Making small changes early can help you avoid bigger problems later.
Several things that are sort of truths that we want to make sure that we get out there is that you do not need to wait until breakdown happens to justify a change.
Right.
You know, a lot of people say, well, why did you do that? Well, I had a breakdown. I'm saying that because that's what I did.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait for that.
Uh-huh.
You know, you don't have to. Another truth is you do not need to be miserable to listen to yourself.
Yeah.
If you feel like something's off, maybe do a somewhat of a life audit and try to figure out what part of your life is off. Is it your relationship with people? Is it your career? Is it your health, mental or physical? Try to figure out what it is and, you know, have a reason to go ahead and change it. But you don't need a reason that makes sense to everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I say this all the time, but if we would have waited for people in our lives, people that are close and people that are not, to tell us when it's acceptable to make the change we did, we would still, you know what? I don't think we'd be here because I think we would be very sick and very miserable. So you got to get something switched in your head that you don't care what people think of that change you're making.
Yeah.
You know?
That's right. Even quiet discomfort tells you something important. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
It doesn't have to be loud and screaming like the squeaky wheel. It can be just something feels off.
Something feels off, yeah. And you always have to pay attention to what you're doing during the day and how can you build on that, on the positives, you know.
Yeah. And, I will tell you too, before we get into the next section, is that therapy can really help you determine what is off.
Uh-huh.
If you have a neutral party, you're talking to a professional to help walk you through what is it that feels off. It's a lot easier than doing it by yourself.
That's right. Before it turns into burnout. Yeah. That feeling isn't a flaw, it's a sign. If you ignore that feeling can turn into resentment, exhaustion. If you notice it early, just like if you notice your tires wearing unevenly early, it can guide you and help you make small changes instead of big ones. And a lot of times it's the best way to go. A few small changes here or there, and then you leading up to the big leap where you make the big change.
Yeah, you know, it's like a leaky faucet, right? I mean, why don't you make the change when it's just a slow drip instead of when the whole thing busts through the wall?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Things don't have to be wrong for something to need to change. You can just make simple changes to fix what feels off, and that will help you avoid burnout.
Yeah. By the way, did I tell you about the leaky faucet show I saw at the Roxy back in '87?
No.
No, I won't bother with it this time.
Leaky Faucet, were they like an indie band?
Yeah, no, post-punk, yeah.
Okay.
Indie, yeah.
Leaky Faucet. All right.
Yeah.
So, a few questions you can sit with, right, in this conversation. What feels heavier than it used to?
Where are you maintaining instead of engaging?
Yeah, it may be that you are holding it together to go to your... you've probably, I'm making this up because I have no idea what this is like, but let's just say that you have volunteered to lead up a PTA meeting once a month, right? Mm-hmm. And you're just maintaining it. You're not even enjoying it. Yeah. Like you, in fact, you might be dreading it.
Yeah.
So what kinds of things in your life are like that? Is it that you have a coffee date with somebody once a week and you're like, God, this is getting so old. It's really getting too much for me. So
Right.
what are you maintaining instead of engaging in?
Yeah.
The next thing is, what would ease look like right now?
Yeah.
What would that look like? Sometimes for me, ease would be, can I bed rot for a Saturday?
Yeah. Yeah, and to me, that's an ever-shifting thing. It just goes
is.
with what you're going through, and it might not even look like ease to somebody else. But
Right.
but it does to you. Yeah.
Sometimes ease could be, you don't cook tonight.
Mm-hmm.
If you live alone, you get takeout instead of cooking. If you have a partner or a roommate, hey, can you cook tonight?
Yeah.
That would be ease for me.
Uh-huh.
Or you know what would be ease for me? If I didn't have to make a decision today.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
things like that, it looks different for everybody. So what is it that creates ease for you?
Mm-hmm.
So as we wind this up, if you pay attention early to that feeling that feels off and you're not sure how to handle it, start going through, ask some of these questions of yourself. Again, what feels heavier than it used to? Where are you maintaining instead of engaging? And what would ease look like right now?
Yeah, I love all that stuff. If you pay attention early, life can change gently instead of all at once. And man, isn't that what we're all looking for? Yeah, you just want gentle changes. I do. If this episode resonated with you, or you know someone who might need to hear it, feel free to share it along. That truly means a lot to us.
You can also support the podcast by leaving a 5-star review or rating on the platform you're listening on. It helps more than you probably realize.
Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss future episodes. You can always find us, the show notes, and the brands that support the podcast at warneradventures.com.
Until next time, here's to the small adventures, the hard ones, and everything in between.
Bye-bye.